to Community Services.
Any final comments from the council? Shall the ordinance pass?
Ray,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Shopmire,
Yes.
Latour,
Yes.
Okay, number 5. Well, there. Number 5, an ordinance to rezone that property described in rezoning petition RZN 16-5425 for approximately 1.84 acres located along the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street from RO Residential Office and RMF 24 Residential Multifamily 24 units per acre to DG Downtown General. Kit.
Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby changes the zone classification of the property shown on the map, Exhibit A, and the legal description, Exhibit B, both attached to the Planning Department's agenda memo, from residential office and residential multifamily 24 units per acre to downtown general. Section 2, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby amends the official zoning map of the City of Fayetteville to reflect the zoning change provided in Section 1.
John.
And for orientation's sake, the next two items on the agenda are directly in the same adjacency to each other, just to simplify that. Both are located on the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street, about a block south of the Yvonne Richardson Community Center, just across the street from the Happy Trails motorcycle connection. Although the property has seen a number of uses over the decades, including residential, commercial, office, there's now a triplex structure and a single-family dwelling as well. The property is currently split zone between residential office and residential multifamily 24 units per acre, and the applicant is requesting to rezone the property to downtown general. Although this property may be considered geographically disparate from the Fayetteville downtown core, it is immediately adjacent to properties that are zone DG. Additionally, downtown general zoning can be found in the Walker Park neighborhood just to the south. Staff feels that the proposal is consistent with much of the area around South and Mill, as downtown general zoning allows residential dwellings of various densities as well as lower intensity commercial and office developments that can facilitate future development that is compatible with the adjacent land uses. Considering this, staff feels comfortable recommending approval. When presented before the Planning Commission, the zoning proposal was forwarded to the City Council with a 6-0 unanimous recommendation of approval, with Commissioner Quinlan recusing herself due to her association with the project. Thank you.
Mark.
I do want to mention, I think this is excellent, the rezoning. It's right in line of what we need to do in the Walker Street area. But I also know from the water sewer point of view, there's not any current main line down South Street. And so as we move forward, we are going to have to seriously consider how we're going to manage that. And I don't know if anyone has thought about that currently. And this is also an area where we're talking about the importance of upgrading our infrastructure. So this is going to give us the opportunity to work on the infrastructure as this property is developed. So I was very pleased to see it be brought forward. Someone's interested in developing this regardless of the challenges that they may be facing with the topography as well as the sewer infrastructure, water and sewer infrastructure there. But I'm certainly in favor of this, and I would move that we would go to the second reading.
Sarah.
I'll second Mark's motion.
Can I get some public comment?
Okay.
And then we'll move right along with that. Okay. Who would like to address us from the public? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council. We have a motion and a second to go to second reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Ray,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Shopmire,
Yes.
Latour.
Yes.
An ordinance to rezone that property described in rezoning petition RZN 16-5425 for approximately 1.84 acres located along the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street from residential office, residential multifamily 24 units per acre to downtown general. And I think we have the applicant here.
Oh. Steve, would you like to say something to us?
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, City Council. I'm Brian Teague with Community by Design. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about our request, and we'd really appreciate it if you guys would approve this evening. Thanks.
Do we have any questions, Mr. Teague? Okay, Sarah?
I just want to say that I'm really happy to see another proposal for appropriate infill coming toward one. We definitely need some redevelopment in this area, and all citizen and resident input that I've received about this project has been positive. So with that, I would like to suspend the rules and go to the third and final reading.
Adela?
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go to the third and final reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Wright,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tenet,
Yes.
Shopmire,
Yes.
Latour.
Yes.
An ordinance to rezone that property described in rezoning petition RZN 16-5425 for approximately 1.84 acres located along the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street from residential office, residential multifamily 24 units per acre to downtown general.
Okay, any final comments from the council? I've received some good calls on this too, and it's kind of my neck of the woods down in there, so they're pleased with that. So, okay, if there's no final comments, Sandra, would you please call the roll? Or no more final comments?
Wright, yes. Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tenet,
Yes.
Shopmire, Latour.
Yes.
Okay, number 6, an ordinance to approve vacation 16-5424 submitted by Allison Thurman and Quinlan for property located at the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street to vacate street right-of-way. Kit?
Whereas the city council has the authority under ACA 1454-104 to vacate public grounds or portions thereof which are not required for corporate purposes, and whereas the city council has determined that the following described street right-of-way is not required for corporate purposes, now therefore be it ordained by the city council of the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas, section 1, that the city council of the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby vacates portions of the street right-of-way as described in Exhibit B attached to the planning department's memo. Section 2, a copy of this ordinance duly certified by the city clerk, along with a map attached as Exhibit A to the planning department's memo, shall be filed in the office of the Washington County Circuit Clerk. Section 3, this vacation approval is subject to the following conditions. Number 1, any costs associated with relocation of or damage to utilities and new easement dedication shall be at the owner-developer's expense. And number 2, a utility easement shall remain where the existing gas line is the center line of the utility easement.
Okay.
This vacation proposal includes just over 2,000 square feet of right-of-way at the southeastern corner of the previously discussed rezoning at the intersection of South Street and Mill Avenue. The property was originally acquired by the city in 1946 following the demolition of the existing grocery store on the site with the intent of using the property for a street widening project that never came to fruition. Staff recommends approval of the vacation, and it was forwarded to the city council with the unanimous recommendation of approval from the planning commission. And once again, Commissioner Quinlan recused herself from the decision. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the council, comments or anything? All right, anybody from the public want to address us on this? Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the council. Sarah?
I move we suspend the rules and go to the second reading.
Adela?
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to go to the second reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Wright,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tenet,
Yes.
Shopmire,
Yes.
Latour.
Yes.
An ordinance to approve VAC 16-5424 submitted by Allison Thurman Quinlan for property located at the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street to vacate street right-of-way.
Adela? Sarah?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go to the third and final reading. Sandra, would you please call the roll?
Wright,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tenet,
Yes.
Shopmire,
Yes.
Latour.
Yes.
An ordinance to approve VAC 16-5424 submitted by Allison Thurman Quinlan for property located at the northwest corner of Mill Avenue and South Street to vacate street right-of-way.
Any final comments from the council? Shall the ordinance pass?
Wright,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Tenet,
Yes.
Shopmire,
Yes.
Latour.
Yes.
Okay. Number 7, an ordinance to rezone that property described in rezoning petition RZN 16-5408 for approximately 24.60 acres at Weddington Drive and Marinoni Drive from C2 Thoroughfare Commercial and UT Urban Thoroughfare to CPZD Commercial Plan Zoning District. Kit.
When this item was placed on the agenda, that was the request of the applicant. We heard, I think it was Friday, from the applicant that they have changed their request significantly. All of the commercial development that was being proposed for the commercially planned zoning district is now going to be withdrawn from the request because they're all going to develop under the urban thoroughfare requirements. The remaining lots, which are lots 7, 8, and 9 and 10, which are owned by the church has now changed their request to P1 institutional, which is the zone that's designed for churches. And therefore, rather than reading the initial ordinance that was presented, I would suggest or ask that you amend that to what the church has requested. I sent that out to you yesterday, and so if someone would amend to what the church is requesting, we can get this item before you.
Okay. I'm having a little malfunction with my screen here.
Well, it's not on the screen.
No, I'm talking about my screen is what. Oh, well. What staff got?
I could present to you the summary of the previous proposal, but that doesn't seem necessary at the time.
I think we need to get a motion to amend to what is asked for by the applicant, and then staff can respond and give their statement.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Would you run that by me again?
Okay, I did send out to everyone here a proposed ordinance that reflects what the church would now request, which is limiting their request now to 4 lots. So all the other lots are taken out of their request, and they are changing it from a PZD into just a standard zoning district, P1 institutional. So if someone would make a motion to go to that, I would I'd be happy to read it.
I move so, Mayor.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Shall the motion pass?
Ray,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Tenet.
Yes.
Palmer, Latour.
Yes.
Thank you. That amendment passed, so I'll read it now. An ordinance to rezone lots 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the McMillan Estates subdivision of the city of Fayetteville, encompassing approximately 16.2 acres, located at McMillan Drive from C2 Thoroughfare Commercial and UT Urban Thoroughfare to P1 Institutional, subject to the attached bill of assurances. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby changes the zone classification of lots 7, 8, 9, and 10 of McMillan Estates subdivision, encompassing about 16.2 acres, as shown on the map, Exhibit A, attached to the applicant's letter, from C2 Thoroughfare Commercial and UT Urban Thoroughfare to P1 Institutional, subject to the attached bill of assurance. Section 2, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby amends the official zoning map of the City of Fayetteville to reflect the zoning change provided in Section 1 above.
Okay.
Staff only recently became aware of many of the more details of this change, and accordingly we recommend that the aldermen review the packet that was provided by the applicant, and they'll be presenting on that. Staff will currently withhold any recommendation due to our lack of time to review the proposal, but we encourage you to listen to what the applicant has to offer.
Okay.
And I think it's appropriate to eventually leave this on the first reading after you hear
Yeah,
from
I
public.
want to get, does the applicant like to speak before the council?
Good evening. My name is Ken Hall. I'm an attorney. I represent Cross Church. I think it would be helpful to provide you with some context as to why the church is relocating, and some background information on the property itself. To do that, Jonathan, do you have the access to the? Okay. So I'm going to show a few pictures and slides. This As many of you likely know, Cross Church has two existing locations, one of which is in West Fayetteville at this location, which is essentially a retail strip center facility. The approximate square footage of this property is about 16,000 feet, and Cross Church has outgrown the space. Jonathan, if you could show the next, yeah. Cross Church also has 4,500 square feet of administrative and office space, generally across the street in the Arvest building. And so the goal is to combine the church and the administrative offices and to have one campus. One of the things that we are trying to solve in relocating is the existing traffic and parking issues associated with the existing building on West Weddington. As you can see on this slide, the church has leased or has arrangements for about 6 different parking locations, which it uses on Sunday, and shuttles its parishioners back and forth. And you can see a picture here of one of the shuttles, actually. So there have been some, I don't want to call them complaints, but comments to the church about we'd like for you to sort of solve that problem because it apparently does create some traffic issues for others. So a couple of years ago, the church decided that it was going to attempt to locate some additional property on which to build, or perhaps an existing building. Ultimately, the church was fortunate enough to procure the lots 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the McMillan subdivision. This is the sort of snake-looking lot up there is lot 10, and it is part of the request, but that is an area that is unbuildable due to, I'm not sure, frankly, what that is. One of the things that has caused us to make the application that we have and show the next one, which is, well, this is the actual property that is being asked to be rezoned. This next drawing is a description of the proposed interchange modification of I-49 and Weddington. As you can see, the Highway Department will push into this interchange modification will push pretty good ways to the east into the development. And so the design of our building, and I will talk about that a little bit, is intended to contemplate those potential changes. One of the issues that we have had is that this plan is not complete. There have been a couple of different variations of the plan, and each time it has moved a little further to the east. And so it's possible that it could be moved further to the east, possible it could go back towards the west. But we think it's generally in about the location that it's going to be. And so the plan for where we'd like to build the building contemplates those changes. Go ahead to the next slide. So the overall campus, I think Kit mentioned in the ordinance, is about 16 acres. This is one of the things that you'll see on this particular drawing is that McMillan Drive has been moved. Yeah. So earlier, Jonathan, if you could show sort of maybe where it had been previously. So that's where McMillan Drive, where he's showing the cursor, is where McMillan Drive is now. After the interchange is completed, the Highway Department will move McMillan Drive to the location shown on here. And we have met with the Highway Department, and they have told us it may move even a little further up towards the north before it curves back down across Lot 7. And so, one of the reasons we are trying to build the building in the location, as in that picture, is it takes into account that change to McMillan Drive. There should be a picture, Jonathan, towards that shows, and it may not be a color one, that shows the existing McMillan Drive with that. I think it'd be 16. So, before the interchange is modified, if the building is placed where we want it to be, you'll see that there's an additional access on the west side. When the interchange comes through, we're going to lose that access pretty much no matter how the building is built along there. We're going to lose that access. And so it was important to us to design the parking and access so that after the modification was made, there would be two accesses into the campus. There should be a right-in, right-out down in the southwest corner as well, that the highway department has said that can be maintained there. If you go back to 10, so the additional highlighted areas that you see in this drawing are the anticipated expansion of the building as drawn by the architect. Again, the location of the building was designed to take into account the expansion on the west side of the building so that there would still be room to come around for traffic to come around along the front of the building and circle around to the back, around to the back. The next three exhibits are drawings from our architect showing what the building will look like. You can just flip through those a couple of times. We have, as part of the plan to develop the property, the interchange modification will take up a good part of the trail that's in existence on the property. The church will donate an additional trail property and has incorporated the trail into its development plans. I think that's it. We just wanted to share with you how we got to this point of needing a new facility. Wanted to share with you what the building is going to look like and where we'd like to place it. And if you have questions of me, also ESI, Representative ESI is here to answer questions. Representatives of the church are here. We're happy to answer any questions that you have.
What questions do we have from the council? Oh, Sarah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to cancel out.
Don?
Mayor, Alderman Long sent an email to the clerk's office today asking it be forwarded to the council members, requesting that this be left on the first reading. And then tonight also sent a message asking that he had been involved in, as one of the two aldermen of this ward, been involved in following this property for the last 10 years and has questions he believes are pertinent and need to be asked, and he would like for it to be left on the reading. The city attorney talked about that, but he asked that I actually read his request, so I'm doing so.
Okay. John?
Mr. Hall, can you tell us, is there some urgency? You said that the church is using 6 or 7 places for parking. Families are having to walk through parking lots. When I'm getting my children out in the parking lot, I tell them this is probably the most dangerous place you'll walk. On streets, we're accustomed to looking for cars. In parking lots, we many times don't look for cars.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not only an issue that the parishioners of the church recognize, but the city itself. There have been discussions about the hazards that are created. The traffic is an issue. We have had a traffic study completed, which shows that the entire subdivision, as developed, which includes the church, The traffic, it does not create traffic problems. In fact, it is a lower traffic than if it were developed commercially. So yeah, you can show, we're just outgrowing the facility. If look on number 5, if you could switch to number 5, we literally are outgrowing the sanctuary. This is a spillover room where if you don't have a seat in the sanctuary, you can watch it by video. The church is just, it needs a larger location, needs a better location to get its folks in and out. So yeah, it's an issue.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah?
I'm just curious, since we're making a land use decision here, not a PZD, why are we reviewing the specific details of this proposal?
My understanding is that the bill of assurance actually included one of those diagrams that you had, and is that correct or not?
I did not include that as a diagram up here.
Okay, well,
The
I'd
bill-
assumed that they were showing something that was on their bill of assurance, and that's why, normally, because we don't allow the development to be shown in a pure zoning decision.
Yeah, and I apologize for that. That is the intention, is to, along with the proposed rezoning, is to provide a bill of assurance to identify the location of the building and the expansion of the building and identify the intended uses of the property. Frankly, the reasons for that had been that there had been, the Planning Commission obviously rejected our rezoning request, and there was a significant discussion about the location of the building. And so what we feel we've done is the Planning Commission would have liked for the building to have been pushed up further. What we did in this drawing is to push it up as far as we can while still contemplating the expansion and the ability to have the access that is needed and frankly probably required as far as access. So the reason and I apologize, I should have been more clear about the concept that this location will be identified in the bill of assurance.
Okay, well, because if you're going to show us the plan, that I see all that impervious surface area, and I'm going to have to ask, what is your stormwater plan? And what low-impact development techniques will you be employing to manage the stormwater?
I don't know. I'll ask Jason Apple from ESI to answer those types of questions.
Thank you. Jason Apple with Engineering Services. This was a part of an approved development plan in 2006 when this development came through. And so the drainage issues were addressed at that point in time, and there's an approved drainage plan in place for this area. We haven't started design, but at this time, we're not showing any of those improvements because of that in-place drainage plan. So I'll answer.
Well, we have updated our stormwater standards since 2006, so I'll be curious to see what you do. But since this proposal has changed dramatically since it went through Planning Commission and through staff's review, I would really like to have their review of the revised proposal before we move forward.
All right. So you want to send it?
I'd like to send it.
Well,
back.
you might see if there's any more public comment before you,
Okay.
Okay.
in fact, we haven't had any public comment.
I know, I'm still with the questions from the council. Anybody got anything else? Okay, now we'll take public comment. What public comment do we have on the rezoning? Anybody? All right, I'll bring it back to the council. John?
Well, let's not act hastily, but maybe we should hold it on first reading so Alan Long can come back and, from his family vacation, and give us his input. But as far as sending it back to some other staff department for further study, that sounds like prolonged delay. Surely we don't want to do that, do we?
I believe that would be up to you all, John.
I agree. Well, I mean, 2 weeks to the next city council meeting, I think staff will have ample time to review things. Jonathan?
That should be sufficient time to review the
All right.
proposal. Thank you.
Can't hear you.
That
He
should be
said, yeah.
sufficient time to review the
Okay.
proposal.
Okay.
All right. Sarah?
That's what I
Okay.
was asking about.
All right. So we figure the 2 weeks will suffice for your review and everything's everything, right? Okay. Well, we'll just leave it on the first, well, has anybody got anything else they want to add to this? Okay, we'll leave it on the first reading. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. All right, moving along to number 8. An ordinance to amend the definition of setback in 151.01 of the Unified Development Code to allow architectural projections of a building such as its eaves to slightly protrude into a setback under certain conditions. Kit?
Whereas building setbacks are designed and required to protect adjoining neighbors from someone building too close to their property line, and whereas a building's architectural projections, such as eaves, roof overhangs, chimneys, utility chases, or bay windows, should be allowed to intrude slightly into a setback area, but never across a property line. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby enacts the following sentence to the end of the existing definition of setback in Section 151.01 of the Unified Development Code. Quote, an architectural projection such as an eave, utility chase, chimney, or bay window shall not be considered to be in violation of a setback requirement as long as the projection does not intrude into a public right-of-way or extend more than 3 feet into a setback. A projection which encroaches into a setback shall not come closer than 3 feet to a property line.
Okay, Matthew.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm thinking of this proposal as a very minor code hack or code patch to what we already have on the books. The proposal is consistent with the regulations that many of our cities in Northwest Arkansas have, and also across the country. It's a very common way to enforce the code. Now, of course, the way we do the code now is also a very common way to do the code. I don't want to anybody get the impression that we have an unusual code, but this is just as common what I'm proposing. And what it would do is it would allow eaves or utility chases or bay windows to project into the setbacks in a limited manner. And it would always maintain a minimum separation from a property line if they were to encroach in the setbacks. And the intent behind this ordinance really, whenever I proposed it, was about roof forms. So if you have a small lot and you want to build a cubist building, a box building, you can do that and you can put the walls right on the edge. And you can have your modern roof. And this isn't a value judgment of that architectural style. Rather, what I'm proposing is that we make this code flexible enough that other